Hello. So a few of you guys were asking about my solar setup. So these are a couple of panels I have. These are actually in my towards the end of my driveway. These catch the morning sun. These basically start picking up sun just as the sun comes up from the east. They're the first ones to get it. This is two of the panels. There's actually two panels here. You can actually see there's more panels over there, and two more panels of those 6 that are over there are the second string that are combined together that are going into one of my Victron charge controllers. And we'll walk on over here. You have to forgive a bit of the mess because we're towards the end of the season. I've been fairly busy. Those are my turkeys running around over there, by the way. So then what we've got here, these are the other 4 panels that are part of that same setup. So 2 of those go to that pair, and then those other 4 are two panels, and then 2 panels. So 2 in series, and then the 2 pairs in combined together. And there's a little combiner piece that's actually in a little box on the back of that they're combined together with. I'll walk over there and show you a little bit of that. Here's my turkeys chirping in the background. Those guys will be for Thanksgiving. Tasty birds. So these are all Canadian solar 300 watt panels. They're kind of a mixture of things. So this was a batch of panels that I got for extremely cheap from a guy who was a solar installer and went to work for one of the larger companies. He had a bunch of panels that were left over, odds and ends off various jobs, and I bought a whole stack of panels off him for $500, and I got 20 some panels out of it. Most of them are Canadian solar. There's also some Q-cell panels and like one other brand. If you look at the panels, they all look identical. I mean, the Q-cells look identical to the Canadian solars, and that they're all either 295 or 300 watt panels. And for setting these guys up in the yard like this for these smaller series, you've got basically I just built little frames out of landscaping timbers and unistrut. Panels are bolted to the unistrut. Little box back there right now. I got to put the lid back on that box, but she's basically protected. I was in there earlier today as I was moving some stuff around, and we got then I've got some field posts and driven into the ground and then bolted to the back of these guys so they don't really go anywhere. Not a whole lot of huge issues with major winds around here. So, and as you can see, they don't really move particularly too much. Then over here on the opposite side, so we're pretty late in the day, so at this point we're past any of the sun coming through. It's let's see, we're around 4:30 in the afternoon here, so you can see with my yard I've got trees all along that side, trees at the back, trees on this side. So this is my lower yard. I've got about 1.5 acres of property. These panels over here, these guys are the last ones to get shade as the day goes. So those are catching the sun as it's continue on down to the west. They'll stay in full sun after these guys are already in shade, and well past these guys are in shade. But these 2 sets here, along with that one, and then the lower 2 sets of the main array, those are all attached to one combiner box. Everybody's got their own individual fuses, so no worries about that. That's a little burn pile. It's going to get burned in a couple of days. I got to clear out what's left of my garden. It's pretty much done for the season. Pull all that stuff out. Those are my ducks back there. And we've got this is the main array. So the main array is, we got 16 of these panels. These are the Sunpower 250 watt panels. I got these from a crazy deal from Santan Solar. They sell a lot of refurbished panels, used panels, etc. These are 20-some% efficiency panels. Originally they came with microinverters. They got rid of the microinverters and just sold the panels as is. And I got these for, I believe it was $45 a panel, plus about $200 shipping for the whole crate. So this array went in first, and then the other smaller arrays, those went in after, when I came across that crazy deal and bought all those panels from a local guy. It was just a unistrut set up back here. I do a little bit of cleanup of the grasses and stuff, and then I've got the eco-worthy combiner boxes. So each combiner box, they're connected into there. There is a main breaker for the box. There is also lightning arrestor inside the box, and then you can do up to six sets of panels. Each panel has its own fuse piece going through it. 10 amps is the rating for each one going into there. The fuses are actually, I believe, at 12 amps. But everything here, you know, these guys, 2 of these panels in series is about 7.5 amps. 3 of the other panels in series going into these guys is about 9.5 amps. So no real issue as far as that goes. And then these guys are in the ground. You can see the little spikes down there at the bottom that this is supported on. So those are actual helical screws. Those go into the ground. They're, I believe they're 5 feet into the ground for each one. Each one's designed to hold, I think it's got a load rating of about 1,500 pounds or so. With the 6 of those guys in there, you know, again, it's not going anywhere. It's been a pretty reliable setup. And then back there, you can see that one little panel that's sitting off there. I've got to mount it up off to the side, but that just keeps the little charge controller going for the electric fence around my ducks, so that nobody comes in and eats them. Had a couple issues with people's loose dogs in the neighborhoods. Same thing with them. They've got an electric fence around them. There's a little 50-watt solar panel feeding a little battery and charge controller on the other side that keeps theirs. And nothing like hearing a dog yip at about 2 in the morning when they've decided to come in the yard and discovered that fence is hot and it hurts. So anyway, so I've got conduit there. It's buried. It's going all the way back up to my house. So it goes on up to there, goes underneath from over there. That's my backup generator as well. So that's a little Onan 7,000 watt, and that's a EFI, so electronic fuel injection unit. Nice part about that is you don't have to worry about carburetors gumming up, and those guys are designed to run for hours and hours and hours at a time. I actually was able to get this one from work because this one had about 5,000 hours on it, and around that time you start having basically the heads have to be replaced on them. There's an issue with the valve piece that's on there that starts to wear. So replace the heads for about $600 myself, versus I think the Onan dealer wanted to charge me about $2,500, $3,000, and the truck that guy came out of, we replaced it with a 5,000 watt, or I think it's 5,500 if I remember correctly, 5,000, 5,500. It's basically the same unit. It's just with a smaller coil in it, because the truck doesn't have near the loads that it used to have on it anymore. So we didn't need the the one quite as heavy, and I think it was $4,700 or something like that for the new unit. Ended up replacing it, and has been working fantastic. And the nice part with those guys are they're not very loud, so you don't have to worry about scaring the whole neighborhood when you fire this guy up. You can run this guy for hours at a time, and you just don't have to worry about listening to all that racket. I used to have a little old Coleman 5500 rattler, as I like to call that thing. It worked fine. It got us through some stuff from previous floods, but very, very loud. This guy here, nowhere near as loud. I'll fire it up in just a second and let you hear. So on this guy here, I always keep that little screwdriver there just to pull it off. One of these days I'll actually get the remote switch hooked up inside, but just hadn't gotten around to it. Don't run this guy particularly often, but I do come out here and start at least once a month just to run the fuel through there, keep everything going. So this guy here, you can hold this guy down here, and that little light comes on, and that's it priming. Basically cycles all the fuel through there. And then once that's done, hold her down. And there she is, she's running. So 7,000 watts, and it doesn't get much quieter than that. So none of the neighbors have to be bitching at me that I can't hear anything, I can't sleep because of a generator. So if you guys can ever find a deal on one of these things, they are absolutely worth it. Just make sure that it's been well maintained. Catch y'all later. Bye.